Hey everybody, and what's up? It's me, Pittoo, and I am your host of the PokePlush Podcast. It is a Pokemon Plush podcast for Pokemon Plush collectors for Pokemon Plush collectors. And like I said, I am your host, and today's just going to be me today, and we're going to be going through something interesting that I asked r/PokePlush on Reddit. I asked everybody, what is your PokePlush hot takes? And boy, did we get some good juicy ones. We got some that aren't really hot takes, and we got some pretty decent things that I think you guys are going to really enjoy. If y'all have any questions or anything you want to say, I'd love to know y'all's hot takes down in the comments below. That would be amazing to hear. And before we get on to that, though, we don't have any news. So I think the only thing I want to really talk about is my new plushies that I've gotten in the past week. And the first one is a Hitmonlee Banpresto plushie. I've been wanting Hitmonlee for so long. If you're listening to this and you're from Reddit, you've probably seen the PokePlush bingo that I made, and I actually put my own for the PokePlush bingo. I made the template, and then I added my own ones that I wanted to get, and Hitmonlee was on that list, so I was finally able to check Hitmonlee off of the list officially in my collection, and I am super, super excited about that. I really enjoy Hitmonlee. Hitmonlee is probably one of my favorite fighting types just in general, and he's definitely one of my favorite fighting types just in Generation 1. I actually have a big love from him from a former YouTuber slash PokeTuber who makes videos, or he used to make some videos back in the day, and that is Leroy. Leroy was the one PokeTuber that I watched just every single episode that came out. Honestly, after this, I kind of want to watch some Leroy Leaf Green playthrough. Once again, I might actually go do that right after this. And yeah, he's just been one of my favorites, and he actually had Hitmonlee on his team. Captain Kicks, if you know Captain Kicks, then God, you are an OG Pokemon fan in my book. But yeah, we had Hitmonlee. So he's officially named Captain Kicks on here. I actually had one in Let's Go Pikachu, or Let's Go Eevee. On my original team, I had Hitmonlee, and his name was actually Leroy. Just a kind of memory. I don't know why Hitmonlee just reminds me mainly of Leroy out of every other Pokemon, but there's a few Pokemon that I try to name after Leroy or after Leroy's Pokemon that he's used on his teams. So we have Captain Kicks, the Banpresto Hitmonlee. And then probably one of my favorite plushies I'm going to ever have. He is amazing, and my recent addition is a custom Poochyena plushie, and he is almost life-size. I'm not going to say he is life-size because he is a little bit smaller. However, he honestly does look very much just like a puppy Poochyena, and he is so freaking adorable. It was named by Cryptic Enigma. If I remember, I will put his link down in the description. However, I do have a video coming out in the future about it. So if you are here just on the podcast, then you're kind of getting a little early thing about that. So yeah, surprise, you got a little early part. We're going to have a video coming out about him soon. And we'll also have a video about Captain Kicks coming out soon. I got to get one or two more Pokemon just added to my collection, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do from there. But yeah, those two plushies are some awesome additions to my collection. A Dream plushie, and then a Pokemon that I've been wanting for a while and that I was planning on getting this year no matter what, finally added to the collection. It's just, God, it's so cool. And I'm looking at them right now. Hitmonlee's over there with my Kirby plushies. And then I got Poochyena with my Mastiff, my Gengars, my Oshawott, just a bunch of my favorites. So he's out there with them, and he looks absolutely amazing together with them. I actually cuddled him last night and fell asleep with him. He is just, God, one of the best plushies I think I'm ever going to have in my collection. And I'm just super excited to get. I want to get Rockruff soon from the same maker because I need a Rockruff to match him. I know there's not a lot of Rockruff bigger plushies to actually match as well. There's some like Good Tomy or I think Banpresto or whatever Pokemon Center. However, the fact that we don't really have a life-size Rockruff is kind of criminal in my book. So I'm gonna try to get my hands on one of those in the future. It's gonna be a pretty penny, so it's probably gonna wait. But I am super excited with what we have coming out, and I just cannot wait to get that Rockruff added to my collection. But it's okay. I'll wait a little bit. I'll get some money. Hopefully soonish we'll be able to get that into our collection. But yeah, like I said earlier, we don't have any PokePlush news that I could think of, so we are gonna move on to the actual main topic, which is gonna be your PokePlush hot takes. All right, and we are here with our main topic, which is, of course, your Pokemon plush hot takes. I asked you on r/PokePlush what your hot takes were with the PokePlush community and just PokePlush in general. And man, do I have some good ones for you. I'm going to say the first one on mine, though, and it was whenever I use that example, and that is I feel like it kind of hurts the community whenever somebody gets the same plushie multiple times. Like maybe two or three is okay, but whenever you see somebody getting, I'm just gonna say Pikachu. Let's say Pikachu, the same Pikachu plush like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different times. It starts to hurt the community because we got to deal with not only that, but now resellers. We got people just trying to buy multiple at a time. It's just it hurts the community. It limits collectors on what they can actually get. Because if you have a favorite Pokemon and you get that many of them, then man, it's just hard. It's really hard. I know that some people love doing that. I have not done it yet, unless you count Jack specific Oshawott. I have, let's see, I've had four, but one's from a collector set with a tag, the other one's in my original set, and then the other one's in my car. However, that was a mass produced one, like a lot. So you can find that for like $5 online anywhere you look. And as well as that, I gave one away for my 500 subscriber special on YouTube. So I'm gonna say it's in my good graces either way. So that's technically three of them. So I'm at that baseline, but I also don't see myself getting another Jack specific Oshawott coming anytime soon. Okay, but we're gonna move on next to our first one, which is from Bunbon77. A lot of Poke plushies feel like they're more displayed rather than cuddles. That's my hot take. I agree. There is a bunch of Pokemon plushies that have kind of become more of a collector's item than actually a teddy bear or a plush. Pokemon that we have like comfy friends for doesn't really count that if you want to say that. However, ones like Sitting Cuties are the obvious hard-hitting ones that aren't really meant for holding and cuddling. They're more just kind of cool shelf items. And while I gotta say I am one of those people that are ones that kind of throw them on the shelves mainly. It's still pretty nice to cuddle with them every so often, like my Babostiff. I got my Gengar, Build-A-Bear, my Poochyena, different ones like that. I do tend to try to cuddle every so as often as a grown man can cuddle their plushies. Sometimes you just kind of need a little teddy to help you go to sleep. I got two dogs, and those two dogs are not the most cuddly because they are just very big, and one of them hates being cuddled. So we're going to say that sometimes plushies have to come in, but I am also a very big collector when it comes to kind of showing them off. So I see both sides of the argument, but I agree. SG Ryuka says, need more bug time plushies. They don't have enough love. Luckily, got my hands on the Sizzlipede chair. I didn't know they had a Sizzlipede chair. That's so cool. I'm going to have to look that up a little bit later. But I agree. I think either that or they need to start stocking up the bug types a little bit better. Like the Sitting Cuties bugs, if you don't know and you haven't seen me before, I actually have a Joltik that I usually keep on my shoulder on my jacket. And he's sold out, and I think he's been sold out since like the first week of the Sitting Cuties coming out. Dwebble's hard to get for Sitting Cuties, Venipede, all these like bug type Pokemon, just because they're kind of, we'll say life size because they are so small of what the Sitting Cuties would be. They are just so hard to get now because everybody got them. But I do think that if we either got newer releases and different ones, or if we just got more stock added to it, I feel like it'd go a long way. Next up, we got Easy Freeze, and he's gonna say, I was going to say my hot take is that Sitting Cuties are not worth the uptick in price, but that seems like a common complaint. So you want a real hot take? Eevee plushes look so damn stupid and horrible with the 2D tuft on top of the hair. I feel rage whenever I see them. My old plushies had no tufts and they looked 100% better. Stop doing this to your Eevee plushes, TPC. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I also kind of agree with this. Eevee plushies aren't the most generous to look at. They at least like the newer ones with the weird like felt tuft that you kind of see on the top of the head, it just kind of feels lazy. Like you just kind of have the pattern sewed on where it has it like that, and it'd probably be a lot better. But I can definitely see where you're coming from. And then we got aforementioned 8934. Squishmallow Pokemon plushies really suck. They should have never been a thing so that Pokemon Center could keep selling the Mochirichi, I think I'm saying that right, series plushies on the US Pokemon Center. I never liked Squishmallows in general. It just kind of irks me how shoehorned they are on the USPS site and how they've excluded the Mochi series away from the US Poke Center. Man, I haven't had a Mochi plushie myself, so I can't really say anything about them. I do personally kind of like the Squishmallows, depending on what they are. Like Teddy Ursa, the Gengar. Oh my god, I'm I'm yawning a lot today. I apologize, guys. I'm doing this late at night, so that's probably why. Um, I'll try to cut out as many of I do, but if you hear them kind of cutting through, then you know why. But I do like Squishmallows for the most part. My friend is really into Squishmallows, and I have a few of them that aren't Pokemon related, such as like my Shadow the Hedgehog. I have a Spider-Man, and gosh, I think that might be it for non-Pokemon ones. But I do have a few Pokemon ones, like the Dragonite. Whenever it comes out, I'm so excited for that Dragonite. But I do see your point, and I can see why it gets annoying, especially whenever they're kind of like not doing the Mochi series because of Squishmallows. But yeah, I could see both. I generally do like the Squishmallows, but if the reason for Squishmallows being that they're not making any Mochi series, then that is very very disappointing. At least for us collectors, because I just feel like that's kind of down. Ice Fang GD says a plush primary's purpose is for cuddles. That's why I only get the ones my heart tells me I really want. There's a lot of different ways to collect, and I feel like getting it the way you want and the ones that you actually like love a lot is a really good idea. I usually try to I kind of for the most part gotten all the ones that I really love, all the Pokemon I really love. However, it just kind of gets to that point where it's like I'm also trying to complete every single Pokemon as a plushie that isn't just sitting cuties. So I'm trying to just slowly do that. But yeah, that like we were talking about earlier, they do need their cuddles. Sitting cuties does kind of change that for the most part. But I feel like there are some sitting cuties you could snuggle with. You could try. Next up, we have Remarkable Ad at 1652. There needs to be more variety in worldwide available plushies. Tired of the most cute Pokemon plushies either being sold at ridiculous prices or only available in Japan. I'm tired of the same old 5 options on Worldwide Pokemon Center plus other places for plushies. Dude, yeah, I'm with you. I am very tired of this whole Pikachu in every set, Eevee in every set, Kanto starters in every set, and like maybe one or two Darumaka, Imaga, something like that. I wish we had more variety. Sadly, I doubt that. As long as what Jazzwares is making the product, I I don't think it's gonna be very well. I think Jazzwares is kind of ruining the product for me, in my opinion. They make a few cool ones, but then they make 20 different. I say different, 20 different brands of the same exact plush pattern. Like Charmander, they'll make a Velvet, and then they'll make a Corduroy, then they'll make a regular, and they'll re-release it as a Corduroy, then they'll re-release it as a Velvet, then they're gonna make it look crocheted. It's sad how we've kind of had it because I remember it being every set was something new for the most part. Like maybe one re-release from a new set or an old one, but for the most part, it was just different. We got Elliot the Fennekin. Any and all Poke plushies, unless if it is a limited edition, should be available and in stock. I still want my life-size Fennekin without having to pay a scalper for it. Yeah, I feel like even if they just did limited stocks every few months, that'd still be a lot better than the fact that they have, say, Poiple, for example. I haven't seen a plush from Poiple that actually got restocked since God before 2020 because I've been trying to search for one from 2020. I think a bootleg one I have in my collection, but I really wanted the Pokemon Center one, but sadly that did not make it. But I definitely see your point on where that's going, and I'm just, yeah, I agree. It is very sad. Then next up, we got ManCan71. I dislike ones where they are winking. They look so silly, in my opinion, and there are too many of them. Of course, it's probably more of a preference, but if it takes that there are too many winking. So I think they have a whole brand of winking Pokemon, like the starters. Like I think my girlfriend has a Snivy one, and when I get the Oshawott one, there's a Mudkip one, just different starters and stuff like that. Uh, I I don't see a problem with it. It's just whatever. If it gives us something different for the plushies, and that's cool. Not all of them have to look like just regular PNG images or just like simple, just regular pose. But I can maybe understand why you get annoyed by it, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, it doesn't really affect me, so I can't really say anything too bad about it. But if it's affecting you, then yeah, it's still a valid opinion. We got Mystica 09. I'd much rather have the now Japanese exclusive Mochiri plushes versus the Squishmallows. Sorry, plush with the same body type isn't appealing to me. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. I like Squishmallows for a little bit of the most part. However, if they had the Mochi plushies again in the US, that also would be really cool. Like I think Joltik and Muna and all them got one. I think I want to get the Muna one soon because I do really like that Muna plush, and I think it'd be awesome in my collection. But yeah, I understand where y'all are coming from when it comes from Squishmallows. We got Tidy Rick, and they say plushies should have removable tickets. Nothing's worse than cuddling a plush than being stabbed in the face by a ticket. But if you try to cut it off, it always looks messy. I'm assuming you're talking about the tush tags. And yeah, that would be pretty cool. Honestly, I'm a person that's like, I kind of don't like tush tags at all. I prefer just regular tags, just hang tags, and then tush tags are just kind of I want to ever part. But if they were removable, that would honestly be such a nice thing. But then again, that's also like first world problems where it's like, man, we hate having these tags on, but it's still a pretty valid first world problem in my opinion. I'm gonna say that. Yeah, I do think that would be awesome though. I doubt it's gonna happen because I don't think there's been any plush brand or any brand that makes them removable because I'm sure they'd get lost, and then if they're given to a baby, maybe there'll be a choking hazard or something like that. But it would still be very awesome. Ooh, my gosh, this one's a really good. Ichielon Michelle says the Build-A-Bear plushies suck, especially the evolutions. Oh, man, do I have a lot to say about this. First off, some of them suck. The other ones are absolutely amazing. I love my Gengar Build-A-Bear. The Dragonite Build-A-Bear is awesome. I love my gosh, which ones do I have? Sobble's pretty cute. Grookey. Some of the ones that you wouldn't expect, Mimikyu, they're pretty good. Then you get to like Squirtle, Charmander, and then they just kind of start falling apart, and it's very sad the fact that they're falling apart with that. I'm just they become disappointing half the time, especially in the beginning. They were kind of disappointing when they had Pikachu, very simple Charmander, very simple Squirtle. But now they're kind of doing Pokemon that aren't as simple. The only thing I could really say that I still don't like for a majority of them is the feet. The feet are kind of eh. Like recently, Bidoof, very nice feet, very nice body, such a cute plushie. But then I think one of the recent releases, gosh, what was one of the recent releases? Was it? I think Brigatito had the Build-A-Bear feet, and not a fan of the Build-A-Bear feet, where they're just kind of little round, and then they kind of throw little nails on there for some of them, like Charmander and such. And I don't really like that portion of them, but still, I do think they're pretty good for the most part. Evolutions, I don't own any myself, but as soon as the Umbreon, my god, Umbreon comes back into stock, I will probably get my hands on him. However, I do kind of see where you're coming from, but also similar to the Squishmallow thing, I like them. Maybe I like them a little bit more than you, but still a pretty valid assumption to be like, hey, I don't like these kind of plushies, because there's always going to be at least one plush brand that you probably don't like compared to other ones. Like for some Pokemon, I just can't have a Sitting Cuties of because it's too small for the Pokemon. But then other things, I'm like, oh, Sitting Cuties would be amazing for this, like Heracross. That's a good one. Cheesy Goat Girl. I prefer Japanese Pokemon plushies over the American brands such as Jazzwares and Wicked Cool Toys. I believe they're the same now, I believe. To me, they're generally cuter, softer, and high. I agree, higher quality compared to their American counterparts. I don't like Jazzwares, like I said recently. I'm not really a big fan of Jazzwares. I feel like they could be so much better if they actually made better brands and were doing more plushies than what they already had. However, it's kind of the only thing we got. I wish Tommy would take a hold of it again, because in my opinion, I think Tommy probably did the best out of Jack specific, Tommy, and Jazzwares. Maybe Hasbro would be pretty good at it. I don't know. We'd have to see how Hasbro's doing. Ben Presto, if they made Ben Presto plushies just in general in the stores, that would be amazing as well. But yeah, I do feel like Jazzwares is very much just cut off. I do love Japanese Pokemon plushies. However, most of them seem to be just kind of from what Pokemon Center, so I guess it's more of an official thing if it's made by them. So I can understand that Japan's always going to just kind of be level up higher than us as Americans. Little Uwu. All right, let's get into this. Pokemon plushies, especially newer ones that aren't explicitly limited edition, shouldn't be considered rare or a collector's item. I wish they just restocked all of them more often so they become more affordable for the average person. I shouldn't have to pay hundreds for a furret neck pillow or a fluffy Flareon, just because some scalpers thought they could make a quick butt from it. I feel like the Pokemon's company is also missing out on a lot of money just by not restocking, because a lot of plushies are obviously in high demand. Yeah, I I think we're all at this point just like, why are y'all, do y'all hate money? Just restock this item, even if it's like 100 plushies. You could make it easily, and you can just keep on going, and you can make so much money. Because whenever the scalpers get onto it, they're not making that money that they probably should be. I know they've recently probably tried to do that a little bit more with the Sitting Cuties uprise in pricing. So we saw that they would probably uprise the prices again, which I'm just, ugh, I hate that. I hate that so much. But yeah, it's disappointing the fact that they don't restock it as much as they should. I would love to get some Pokemon plushies that I missed out on before I started collecting, or just in general some that I just never got a chance to really get because I like didn't have any money at that time. Like there's a few from Generation 7, Generation 8, Generation 9 that I haven't been able to get because I just don't have any money really to spend on them. But I want them. I do really want them. Like the new Dolls that came in, which we'll talk about in the future. Man, I really want those guys so bad. I really do. We got Cosmic Entity 1720. I don't really care if the plush is official or not, as long as it's really cute. I can see this point, and if that's how you feel about it, that's awesome. There's a few that I really like. The Ollie Factory Light Score comes to mind whenever I think about the plushies and everything like that. However, I'm also really hoping that whenever if I'm able to grow, or not whenever, but if I'm able to grow this channel a good amount and possibly get a connection with the Pokemon Company Nintendo, that the fact that I don't have any bootleg plushies too, at least too much, would be pretty good. And them maybe, I don't know, send me to Japan or something, please, Pokemon Company. I really want to go to Japan. So yeah, I've slowly kind of been losing my bootlegs over the last few years, trying to either trade them in or sell them just in general so I can get something else. But if you like the bootlegs and you don't want them unofficial or you don't care about them, then that's up to you. I will say though, they probably aren't stitched together or put together the best, so just be careful about those. All right, we got Moonlight Screen says we need more plushies with utilities. I'm talking plush Pokemon bags with actual space storage. Oh my gosh, yes, pouches, even purses. That way I could bring my plush with me outside without taking too much space in a bag. Yeah, I think the fact that they don't really do plushy bags that are actually, usable, says a weird thing about them. I feel like they probably could do that, even if it was kind of like a lounge fly kind of thing where they teamed up to make like plushy backpacks like that. I feel like that'd be awesome. However, I kind of doubt they're gonna do that. I feel like it's more of a bootleggers thing to make the Pokemon plushies in the backpack. I do want the Gengar one. That would be very cool. However, after looking at it, you put what, maybe one thing in there and that's it. you can't really fit anything in those bags, I don't think. But still, it would be very cool to have just in general. And then we got Auto Wraith 19. I only get plushies of Pokemon that I've used for myself. I mean, why would I buy a plushie of Pokemon I have zero attachment to? Lapras? Yes. Nidoking? Absolutely. Garchomp? Sorry, bro. I haven't used you yet, so enjoy the store shelf for longer. Yeah, I feel like that's probably one of the most popular ways to collect the Pokemon, besides just kind of liking how they look. Whenever you have a Pokemon that you have an attachment to, getting a physical copy of them is always a very, very nice thing to do, and I do suggest doing that. If you see a plush of a Clefairy and you love Clefairy so much and you have an attachment to it, even if it's unofficial like we were talking about last time, grab it if you want, add it to your collection. That's the best part about collecting. You can make it however you want, whenever you want. Coffee and Tea says Pokemon Center should send out shinies randomly. I know this can encourage mass buying and returning, but it would be neat. Also, integrating Pokemon Go with that Pokemon plush you can buy would be a fantastic concept. Okay, so the last part I don't understand. Also, integrating Pokemon Go with that Pokemon plush you can buy would be a fantastic concept. Uh, that might be something else. So if you end up watching this, please let me know what you were elaborate on that, please. But my only thing about the shinies thing is somebody's definitely gonna. There's gonna be a point where somebody's gonna buy a Mewtwo plushie, and they love Mewtwo and they want to get that plushie, and they prefer the regular over the shiny, and they're gonna get the shiny, and it's gonna be technically not the actual the product that they bought, so they're probably going to want to return for it. I know that's very unlikely, but I do understand why they don't do that. Now, it'd be very cool, I doubt this as well, that they would make one and then send it out on random things along with the orders, but I doubt that too. So I understand why they don't do it. They don't want to lose money on that. And then, yeah, like you said, mass buying, it would be very neat, and I would love it so much. But yeah, I doubt it's ever going to happen unless you actually buy, the shiny Pokemon. Confident T9062. They keep fucking up Lugia's head with only plushies done right being all-stars, and that one Lugia plush sold at 2K on eBay. Or 20K. Oh my god. 2K and 20K are very different from each other. I haven't seen the Lugia that sold for 20K, but that is... Wow, that's crazy. Lugia's head, I also have not seen too many of. The plushies for Lugia. However, if you say so, then well, I'll agree. Yeah, they should stop messing up Lugia's head. Come on, guys. What's up with that? Apocopus says, not sure if it's a really hot take. I'm kind of sad with how clean a lot of the new plushies are. I don't hate them because a good-looking plushie is really nice, but all the smooth Charizards will never compare to my Goblin, Tomy, Pocky, Charizard, or the Hasbro Beanie peak form. That is kind of a hot take, I will say, because a lot of people do like their newer plushies. But I do really like old school plushies as well. Like my Gengar plushies that I have, they're just some little gremlins, and they're so adorable, but they're so different from the original Gengar plushies. And it's kind of cool seeing just how different they are. But yeah, I do think it's kind of a hot take depending on who's wanting them. Because while some of us are gonna want the little gremlin, funky looking guys, like Poochyena is probably my best example. I have the 2003, I think it's Hasbro Poochyena. He is a very, very bad looking fella. He does not look the best. But comparing that to the Sitting Cuties is probably a little bit better than that. But I do really like my Hasbro one either way. And I wouldn't sell either of them. And I think they're kind of tied for how good they are in my books. However, I do understand if somebody would prefer the Sitting Cuties Poochyena over the Hasbro one. Even though the Hasbro one is also very funny to look at. I do suggest searching up Hasbro Poochyena if you enjoy that. And then also search up Poochyena Inflation. I'm sure you guys would also enjoy that. And then we got big. Don't search that. I don't even know if that's actually a term that would come up if you search that up. Dude, just don't do it for oh man. We got Big Buffo. Some of my favorite ones are bootlegs. The fake ones can have a lot of charm. Um, I'm especially fond of extremely wonky, ugly ones from the late 90s. So we just talked about that. Yeah, depending on who you are and where you're from, then it might be better to get your wonky gremlin little guy. However, I do feel like a lot of the population would probably just want their normal little Pikachu rather than their chunky little Chonkachu like we like. But it's also depending on who the collector is, if they're an actual collector or if they just want to get a Pokemon plushie for their niece. So I understand what you're talking about. We got Phoenix Ashes. I think that's what it is. There's a lot of numbers in the word. Kill. I agree. Don't collect the three Pokemon at the same plushies. It is very much overkill. Really, really, really don't like Squishmallows. We talked about that earlier. Yes, Squishmallows. I can understand that. More cuddly plushies, less display plushies. We were talking about that earlier as well. Uh, you don't like the sharpish felt. I can understand that for the most part. I don't really have many plushies with sharp felt, so I can't truly talk about that very much. And there's a few that I've maybe noticed, but I also don't collect too many that have a lot of felt. Like Banpresto is very popular with their felt, and they utilize that felt until it's just God so much. Don't shy away from making merge exclusive forms. They're cute. Examples are Ditto but Pokemon or the bootlegs and custom Mimikyus, but disguise like the evolution disguises. Yeah, I would love more little gimmicky ones. I tend not to get the gimmicky ones, at least I wasn't, but it would be cool to maybe get a few. I feel like that'd be pretty cool. And bootlegs are at the end of the world, although it's valid if you don't want to pay full price. Yeah, they are valid if you don't want to pay full price, like I was talking about earlier, just depending on who the collector is. If you are into collecting bootlegs or you don't really care if they're official or not, go for it. I want to see your collection grow, even if it's not official. But yeah. Oh, this one is one that I was thinking about earlier. As soon as I said something about official, Wuzzles Tycoon says the amount of redditors asking if their plushies is fake is really annoying. Please be a bit more dependent and search for images online and compare it for yourself. I agree heavily to that. I feel like we need to kind of limit on the Reddit just how many people say, is this plushie official, while showing off an American Pokemon tag with an American hang tag that just matches everything to official plushie. There's a few that are hard to get or like can't really notice too much of a difference from it. However, it's kind of obvious if one's a plushie and one's a bootleg from, you know, China. This cheaply China made one. I am going to say real quick for anybody who already has questions about that, if you guys want to check any of yours, it will always say American Pokemon Center on the tags. So if you see the Pokemon Center logo but it's in Japanese, it's a bootleg. All right. SMC was taken. They need to make bigger ones for cuddles. I definitely agree, especially if we got the Mochi Mochi or more cuddly, comfy friends ones. I feel like that'd be awesome as well. The giant evolution plushies are so expensive. Yeah, that's a reseller thing. So, and I just like sleeping cuties. I'm gonna say sitting cuties is the one that you're thinking of. And yeah, there's a lot of sitting cuties dislikers here that I've noticed today. And wow, that's crazy. You don't really see too many of those. We got DT Blasterworks. I wish the U.S., Europe, and Japan exec markets all synced up and released around the same time. I do too. However, I doubt that's ever going to happen. I don't know why the Pokemon community just kind of hates doing things all at the same time. They used to do it for the Pokemon games after like what Generation 6 and 7, and then they say it's on the same time, but it's just the same day, but not the same hours. So it's technically not even the same. They're just very bad at syncing things up, and I doubt they're going to do that ever. We got Damie Mon says the posable plushies are not exactly posable. Skeletons used by most plush makers out there are crude, but at least they do the job. I don't have any posable plushies really myself, I believe. I don't think I have any at all, to be honest. I got some of the starter ones like Samurai, and I think Samurai actually might be the only ones that I have. But yeah, they aren't the most posable. I thought that was just kind of because Samurot's got some pretty chunky limbs. But say Cinderace, if you were to do that with Cinderace and it didn't do that, then that's just kind of very lame, in my opinion. We got 11 Snowfay says, I've never cuddled with or taken any of mine out in public. They're on a shelf where I look at them. Not a hot take, but I want to get so many more. How much room I have is dwindling. Yeah, it kind of goes back to whoever you are, how you collect. If you like sitting cuties, then collect sitting cuties and just put them on your wall. If you like cuddling with them, I'm mainly a collector at heart with a cuddler by nature. We'll call that. So it's still valid either way. Just kind of a thing. All right, and then we got. I'm not gonna say their name. Uh, it says if a plush isn't 1-to-1 scale, it ain't worth it. So there's just kind of so many plushies that aren't 1-to-1, and the ones that are gonna be a good couple $100. So it's just kind of a. I do like my plushies being smaller. I'm not really a big plush collector, as in I'm a big plush collector, but I'm not a huge size plush collector. My biggest one that I have is technically Snorlax, which is a beanbag chair, and then Oshawott comes in right after that. But yeah, I mean, it just depends. Nye Rat K1 says giving everyone a comfy friends Quagsire and Clodsire will cause worst piece. And yes, I definitely agree. This has definitely made the thumbnail. By the way, if you see this podcast episode, this is why I have Clodsire and Quagsire on the thumbnail. Okay, we got Leia the Frog 19, and they got a lot to say. Not really a hot take, but I hate that people buy plushies and sell them online way overpriced. It's bad because you only are able to buy original Pokemon Center plushies in Asia, US, Canada, and UK. Nowhere else. They don't ship to Europe or other countries outside of Europe. Every time I want a plush, I have to import it, or I need to buy it from special stores or online in my country, and it will have at least 3 times the original price. It's brutal. Ooh. Import shops like Mega Japan are overpricing the community favorites ridiculously. Yeah, I've seen that too. Most plushies ran fast, out, and stuck, and since nobody knows if they ever produce more, people start selling plushies that were originally $20 for $200 online. Yeah, resellers have kind of been killing us. Ugh. If you want to get Sing Cutie in Europe, you pay between €30 and €100 plus, depending on the Pokemon. Yeah, it's just a whole bunch of reselling in general has just killed the pack collecting. COVID just kind of hit us hard as well as Pokemon cards and Pokemon game. Pokemon in general just got hit hard, and it just got really hit hard just with new people coming in just taking all of the stuff that we really enjoyed. Thea Theria says most of the Sylveon plushies missed the mark. The ribbons look weird and it makes them look cheap. I love Sylveon but hate the plushies. I want a large Sylveon that doesn't look like a bootleg. So there is a really good Sylveon plushie that the guy who made my Poochyena actually made. So if you end up hearing this, Cryptic Enigma, go check them out on Etsy. Beautiful plushies they make for Sylveon. Sylveon's the main reason I saw, and I was like, man, I need to see if he somehow custom makes it, which he did. But all right, we got Breathe Lazy 5122. Most of the ones in the US Pokemon Center are a scam. Not because they aren't real, but because the US Pokemon Center is actually run by Game Freak and the American centered branch of the Pokemon Company. Unfortunately, it means we get all of their money grubbing, quality control lacking, out of stock 99% of the time selection. That makes a lot of sense. My hot take is that Game Freak needs to be destroyed and reabsorbed by Nintendo Japan. It needs to be completely glutted. Oh my god, I can't believe I said it 4 times and got it wrong. Gutted, dismantled, fired the head people, all of it. Games and products Game Freak has on their hands are always inferior or just half-assed compared to the Japanese or European country branches. 20% for or $20 for a palm-sized plush that isn't quality controlled anymore. Not worth it. Having a website where the majority of listings are permanently out of stock, a waste of time and money. But they get away with it because Pokemon is so big in America, and with all the people I see just continuing to bow down to the price gouging, the forced limited stock due to people buying, in mass to resell at jacked up prices. They're only going to get worse until none of us can buy anything Pokemon related for. I stopped buying legit Pokemon plushies and buy bootlegs because at least I won't be shelling out $50 for a plush, and I have to wait 7 years for it to restock even once. And I could still buy some nice looking plushies. The Cuddly Friends substitute plush, I found that one made with Minky on eBay, same size and design other than different materials, and it was $10. Umbreon Pokédoll, $9. I can get infinitely less money if I avoid the bullshit practices of Game Freak and the American Pokemon Center altogether. Wow, that's a lot, and it's all very true. I didn't know that Game Freak owned or operated the American part of Pokemon Center. I kind of feel like that. I need to fact check that for sure, but I didn't know that was a thing. I thought like Game Freak was a Japanese company, um, and I assume they just kind of did all their stuff in there. I know the U.S. Pokemon Center or Pokemon Company portion is very money hungry and is just it's terrible because I don't know what the difference is from Japan to America that makes them do that, but I need them to stop. But yeah, you definitely said a bunch of the stuff, and the fact that you're getting bootlegs instead of it, honestly, very reasonable, man. Do you, and I respect it. Do it for the cringe says get one Gen 1 gets too much love. This is the same with all the general merch too. But at least they're getting a bit better with it. Yeah, Generation 1 still gets too much stuff. If you get one thing that's from a different generation, Lord forbid you get something from Unova or Sinnoh or Kalos, then you have to get something like 10 of them from Kanto. And it gets annoying at some point. I'm done seeing. I love the Kanto starters. Done seeing them for a little bit. I don't need a plushie of them. I have like multiple of all of them, and I'm good. I'm all good. I'm all good. Uh, Prophesized Heroes says we need more fully evolved Pokemon plushies. I'm tired of cute Pokemon plushies. Where's my Talonflame, Tyrantrum, and Primeape plushie? Primeape. You could tell that I'm tired. Primeape plushies at. Aside from sitting cuties like something soft that has size, not huge but worth cuddling, that would be so cool. Like I feel like Banpresto would probably be the best company to go ahead and make something like that. I feel like they are probably the best when it comes to all of that, and I think that it's probably I think it's probably best if they did it. However, Ollie Factory I know has made a good amount of these plushies, so if you want to try Ollie Factory and you're okay with bootlegs, that's probably the place to go. And then next up we have Blatodia. There are too many plushies that look the same. How many similar looking Eevee plushies are they going to waste their time with? There are a ton of Mimikyu plushies that could have been really cool but are just that one stock pose. Maybe they need to make them interesting, or just stop using the same Pokemon until they run out of ideas. There are crazy unused Pokemon with plenty of potential for amazing plushies. Instead, let's have our millionth Ditto with the same faith. Yeah, I feel like Mimikyu, if you had like a plushie where his hands are reaching out, that'd be so infinitely better than, say, Mimikyu that's standing there menacingly, or Mimikyu standing there head tilted slightly. It depends on it. Yeah, a lot of Eevee plushies too. Ditto, at least with Ditto, they do some plushies where it's like this Pokemon, but it's actually just a Ditto. That's pretty unique. However, the fact that that's kind of one of the only things they could do with Ditto, while it is unique, still kind of sad. And they do need to put some new Pokemon in the limelight, even if they do just end up doing, baby Pokemon. And then we got no difficulty 1272. Pokédolls are overrated, and Pokemon only hype them because they are worth money. And I guess I hit somebody's nerve because he had 0 likes, which you start out with 1 like from yourself on here, so 1 upvote from him. Somebody had to downvote him. Whew. I'm okay with that. I mean, I like Pokédolls depending on who it is. The Dracovish one is one of the funniest Pokédolls in my opinion. But I'm also not really much of a Pokédoll collector, so I can't really fully chime in on this. If anybody else is, feel free to. And next we have Hideo Lepi. Hot take: Pokemon Center plushies are overrated, and wow, -8 on the downvotes. Gosh, Wow, that is a lot. Um, it depends on which one, I guess. I mean, they are probably the best made out of the bunch whenever it comes to it. Maybe Ban Presto has a chance to beat them, but for the most part, I think Pokemon Center is the best sewn, the best put together, the best patterned, and I don't really see too many Pokemon brands that kind of go up and challenge it. But that was the last of the Reddit ones. However, to get y'all mad, my girlfriend had one, and her hot take is that the Claude Comfy Friend sucks. You can't see any of its features. I just want to throw that in there. If you're gonna get mad at her. Yeah, let's get mad at her as a group. But I think that is gonna be it for me. I enjoyed reading y'all's hot takes. I didn't realize it was gonna be, almost 50 minutes of hot takes, but we're gonna cover it. I'm gonna get this video edited and put up. So I hope you guys have an excellent morning or whatever time you may be listening to this podcast. And I think it's gonna be it for me and the PokePlush Podcast. We'll see you guys next time, and have a lovely rest of your day.